Cuckoo. We're Isabel and Kim, girlfriends living in France and chatting about everything going on in our lives. Come hang out with us while we cheers with an Aperol Spritz, sometimes, swap stories, get into some deep talks, and share what we've learned along the way. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at cuckoo.pod and follow us on our podcast.
Yay. Hi.
Hi.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
I know.
How was
we
your
barely
weekend?
saw each other this weekend. Normally we
Yeah.
have like one sort of at least like get our daughters together or some,
I feel like we actually haven't seen each other for a while because
Yeah,
when
you're right,
was
'cause the
last, like probably last week when we went to dinner.
Oh yeah, that was a while ago now.
So almost a week.
Oh my gosh. We had a really busy weekend though.
What'd you guys do?
So Friday we took the kids out to dinner, which
Fun.
is fun, but always a little hard on a Friday night. I think we learned our
Friday
lesson.
night is-
Like
we
their
can't do
kids are
things on Friday
tired
night.
and their dinners here, as we talked about, don't start till 7:30, which is like late for the kids. So it ended up being nice, but we've kind of learned like maybe not Friday nights.
I've always got a grumpy little gal.
Oh,
on
yeah, by
Friday
the end, they're
afternoons.
both, like,
This is
dragging
why
them
we
home
do
and-
Friday night pizza and
Yes,
movie.
that's what we normally
make
do.
pizzas.
Totally.
We
That
watch
was
a
our
Disney
normal, but we
movie.
were kind of like, oh, let's mix it up. It's like a beautiful night. And anyways.
Yeah, it was. The weather has been so nice here.
Oh my gosh. It made me really think like May is the best time of year in Aix-en-Provence.
See, I agree with you, but I
like not
also like
that
when people
hot.
ask when people ask like what the best month to come is.
Yeah, what do you think?
My problem with May is that sometimes there's storms. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the weather when it's nice, it's
so
perfect
nice.
because
Yeah.
you have like a little bit of a cool breeze. You have
Totally.
sun,
The
you
nights
can-
are still cool.
The nights are really
Yeah.
nice, but that we did have like a couple weeks of like pretty bad
That's
weather
true, but
like
wasn't
during the
that-
vacation.
yeah, you're right. Okay.
I guess more like end of April, beginning
May.
of May.
I would say
but
end of May then.
end of May is
Yes,
really nice, and I
beautiful.
think June is still really nice because
I think so, too.
It
I've
does
never
start to
been
get
here, but it
hotter,
looks better.
It's sunny every single day,
it's so
and
nice.
it's not like stifling.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, for sure. So anyways, we did that. And then we met another family at the beach, which was like 35 minutes away. Gorgeous, like white sand beach.
How was
turquoise
that beach? Was
waters.
it crowded? I haven't been there yet.
No, but I heard it in the summer, like August. It's like you can't even park.
Okay. Yeah, I'm
but
sure.
we found parking easy. They have a restaurant that like overlooks the beach.
So cool.
In Martigues. So
okay.
I would definitely recommend this beach. It's hard to find sometimes like white sand beaches.
Yeah, a lot. It's mostly rocky.
It's a
around
lot
here.
of there's a lot of rocky beaches, but so the kids were just like in heaven, and it's really shallow, so the kids can like
So nice.
play in the water, and you don't feel like it's not
And
safe.
the water temperature is like
It's actually
completely
swimmable
fine.
right
Yeah,
now.
we
It's like
went swimming
totally
yesterday.
fine.
It was
You
awesome.
did?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Anyways, and then we were supposed to go to the Bruce Springsteen concert in
Oh
Marseille.
yeah, this is drama.
Total drama.
Poor Bruce.
So I know. So we get down there with another couple that had bought the tickets, and it was like so nice of them to invite us. And the woman we were with is like a huge Bruce Springsteen fan, so she was like really excited. Like had been planning for this for like a year, and literally 2 hours before the show, everyone starts like kind of talking in like the bar we were at beforehand of like, Bruce isn't playing. Oh my God, like all in French. And like,
Yep.
they were like, everyone's like, what happened? What's going on? Like he canceled the show because he lost his voice. And there were
no.
60,000 people coming into Marseille to see him.
Crazy because we had a birthday party on Saturday, so we were on the highway, and the signs on the highway were like, concert canceled. Like, don't
I know. I
come
couldn't
into
believe
Marseille
you
'cause
knew
I
when
think
you
it was like
texted me. I was like, oh, I know.
overcrowded or something.
Yeah. But so anyways, we ended up having a nice night, but we got out of the area where the concert was and walked to like a pretty part of Marseille and had a nice dinner with the couple. So it still ended up being like worth the babysitter and
Okay,
just a nice
cool.
night out.
That's good.
And then yesterday, it was French Mother's Day, which I know Isabel, like, happy French Mother's
Thank
Day.
you. Thank you.
But for us, we celebrated the American Mother's Day, and so we had over some other non-French families and had a pool party, like a pizza pool party.
I'm so jealous
at our
we missed
house.
this.
It was
Parties
so
at Kim's
fun.
house are the best.
I think because I made margaritas, like, and it was like,
Oh, yeah, and it's so hard to find a good
the
margarita
good
here,
margaritas
so
here
everyone's
that
probably
everyone
thrilled.
was super excited about having like a really homemade, delicious margarita. So,
awesome.
yeah, we had that, but it was kind of one of those, like you and I talk about, where it was meant to be a lunch party. Like I thought people might leave around, I don't know, 3, 4.
Yeah.
It was 9 p.m. and it was
my
a
gosh.
Sunday night. And I was like, we had another round of pizza. Like, I was like, this is insane. Like, everyone just really loves like a good Sunday hangout. And
Yeah.
it's relaxed. And, you know, and I was observing like nobody was on their phones. Like,
that's
people didn't even
awesome.
know where their phones were the
Yeah.
entire day. Like, I thought, and the only reason we thought of it is because someone's like, we should get a picture. And nobody
yeah.
had
a
their
phone on
phones. And it
them.
was actually so cool because I'm like, how opposite of that when we used to have parties in the US and everyone was like,
Really?
oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, not like,
Like
the whole
checking work
party, but
emails
or just like, I don't know, just on their phones. Like it was just
Weird.
more normal. And so I
Okay.
actually like stopped and observed that yesterday, which was
So cool.
really refreshing and nice.
Yeah, I
So-
bet.
Okay, tell us about your weekend.
Okay, so what did we do? Friday, we just hung home because
Yeah.
everyone's always so tired
Totally.
Friday. And then Saturday, my daughter had a birthday party in the afternoon. And so, like, there's one thing I've learned about France.
Yeah.
If you're invited to a social thing, do not go at the time of the event. You need to go, like,
Late.
much later.
Yes,
like,
always.
Even 30 minutes is probably too
Yeah.
early. Or you'll be the first one there, and they're like, what are you
What
doing?
are you doing
We're not
here?
expecting
That wasn't
you.
the time. Totally.
But if your child is a birthday party invitation, you have to
You
be there
show up
on
on time.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so we like didn't mean to show up as late as we did. We had like a small issue on the way there. But we got there 30 minutes late and I felt so bad because my daughter was the last one there and she didn't get her face painted.
Oh no.
So now I'm like scarred from that. But
But there's still 3-hour parties. Like
yeah,
I'm
it's
sure
true.
she
It's
had
3
plenty
hours.
of fun.
And I don't know how it is in the US, but
Yeah.
I've noticed here you leave your kids at the birthday parties.
Yeah,
and so
that's
we
not typical
dropped her
for
off
a
at
4-year-old.
a girl from her class's house and like everyone had to leave and it did just feel
yeah.
I don't know, she's really young still. She's 4 and
Yeah.
it felt kind of I don't know, in my head I was like it's kind of weird
I
to leave
know.
her at a
Right? Like you don't
not,
know
and I don't want to
them,
say stranger,
Right.
but it's not a house we've been to
Right,
before.
totally.
It's not like
you don't know the
people-
mom super well.
Yeah,
right?
like a little bit, I guess,
Yeah.
like from like small talk and
Yeah.
stuff. But you know, it's not. It wouldn't be like leaving her at your house.
Right,
Do you know what I
totally.
mean?
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, everyone just like left, and it's true. It's also all the kids she's in. It's her whole class, so it's everyone she's in
so
school
she
with. So I guess
knows.
it's like
Yeah.
more normal.
On the other hand, it's kind of nice for like you and your husband.
Yeah, so we kind of thought we were going to be staying,
Yeah.
and then we were like, wait a minute,
What do we do? We have, like,
2.5
yeah, for
hours. So
sure.
we ended up coming into X and
Oh,
just having.
fun.
We wanted to go to Marseille, but
Okay.
I'm glad we didn't because
too
it would have been a
far
mess
and
with the
long.
traffic and the
Oh,
canceled
the
concert.
canceled concert.
This
That's
is
how you
really why we
knew.
didn't go. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
And so we just went into X and had a little spritz, and then we went and picked her
Oh,
up.
fun.
And then yesterday we had such a nice day at the beach. You guys had actually been to
Yes.
this beach the weekend before,
Yeah.
and
Isn't
so we
it-
rented
it's so
chairs. The
nice.
food was really good. It
It's
felt like
a
we were on
cool,
vacation.
like beach club vibe, don't you think? Like
Yeah.
the music's good. Like their Aperol spritz was actually decent. I don't know. If you
I was
had one.
drinking piscines all day.
Oh, I
So
just
champagne
found
with
out
ice.
about this piscine
Delicious.
thing. They also call piscine rosé if you put
Yeah,
ice
you can
in
do it with
rosé.
basically just like toss ice and whatever.
and they call it a piscine.
Yeah,
which means
but
pool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like it because then you don't have as much alcohol.
Yeah.
So like
yeah,
you know,
it's true. And
was
with and
great.
like
And it's a
good
big
French
drink.
champagne. Oh, it's probably amazing.
it was really good.
Yes.
So yeah, we had a great day and we got back at like I don't know 5 o'clock. It felt like we'd been on like a real like
So
vacation.
nice.
And I came home and I was like, this is feels so
Perfect.
lucky to live
Yeah.
here.
Oh, I feel like
Such
that
a nice
every
combination of like the
time.
countryside plus the
Totally.
sea plus
Yeah.
Marseille is cool
Yes.
and trendy and
For
X
sure.
is like easy and
Yeah,
nice
and really beautiful.
Okay, so today we are talking about how to age like French wine. We're going to talk about all things aging in France and how our perspectives have shifted from living here.
Yes. Well, I'll start.
Okay.
So it's interesting. I think aging is kind of one of these big topics in the United States, right? Especially
Anti-aging.
like
Anti-aging.
anti-aging. And I actually used to work in the beauty industry for, gosh, like 7 years with Sephora. And I think what I was always like being taught marketing, like was basically, oh, you've got to prevent aging. Like you've got to do everything you can to not age, to still look like you're always, 22. And my perspective has always been like, yes, I will use like great product and great skincare, but I've never done Botox. I've never done fillers. I've never done anything in my life. And not that I'm opposed to it and not that I judge anyone that has. It's more that just for me, I don't know. I guess I never felt quite ready, or I was always like, maybe if I just keep using all the right skincare, I can put it off for a while. And I'm in my early 40s. And so like, obviously that's top of mind as.
And you look wonderful.
Well, thank you. But every year as you know, like, and I think certain things sort of like trigger it, like the way you might look in the morning one day, if like, you know, you're dehydrated or something, you like feel like you don't look as good as you in your mind could. But I feel like, so I guess where I was thinking is like, from a French women perspective now, what I'm observing is, you know, French women, I think, age so much more gracefully in a way of like, they're not trying to kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm like scared of aging. Like I think in the US, it's much more of like a fear-based thing. Whereas here it's like it's part of life and there's things that come along with it. So I think, you know, my own perspective on it has been evolving over time.
But I also feel like I remember I was surprised because I went and got Botox, I think in February.
Yeah.
And you had said like, oh, I've never had Botox. And I was so surprised because I feel like at least with my friends, most of them have all had that. And, you know, I don't know, in the US, I just felt, even me, like I feel like I've always been really into anti-aging. And the only thing I've ever done is Botox.
Yeah.
And I did like a facial laser, which I actually really
Oh,
liked.
I know. I'm
in
open.
Paris, and I am ready. I'm like willing to play around with some more lasers because I did notice a difference, especially after having been pregnant with my melasma. And I was really impressed with that. So I did like that. But I will say, like the first time that I ever got Botox, I was 27.
Wow.
And that didn't.
Doesn't that seem so young now?
It seems like, what in the world was I thinking? But it didn't seem like all of my friends at the time were getting
totally
Botox. And I remember it was so expensive. And I was like babysitting and like in grad school. And it was a big spend for me. And the doctor was like, oh yeah, like here. And so I was like, oh yeah, I need it.
Right.
But looking back, and I think also I now have this perspective of being online a lot because a lot of my stuff is being on Instagram. And so you, of course, see
for sure
other people. And my eye, I've like a little bit freaked out by how normalized all of that work kind of looks to me. Like I see people and I'm like, okay, that's just what a face looks like.
For sure.
But you see a lot. But the thing that I've noticed most recently is just the lips. Like everyone has really
the
big
fillers
lips.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of making me almost rethink everything because I'm like, you know what? I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we live here and I just don't see, you don't see faces like that in my day-to-day life. So then when I see it online, it's almost like a little bit jarring because it's just not a face that I see when I go to school or do pickup or whatever. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I do think that it's interesting to talk about because there does seem to be a big difference between like what's culturally normal in the US and what's normal here.
Yes.
And I think I'm starting to reevaluate my things.
You know, it's interesting. Like, obviously, you know, we both have a lot of really good friends still in the US and they almost feel like they have to do it to keep up with their circle of like moms or other women that are all doing it. So it's almost like this, like, you have to just so that you don't look like the one that's standing out. Like,
well, you know when I felt like this? I think that this is like a huge part of it because I will say I had a big break from Botox for a while.
Okay.
And we were in the US over Christmas and we went to a wedding and everyone looked so good. Like so good.
Yeah.
And Cedric and I got home and we were like, we look terrible and exhausted. And I came back and I'm not going to have shame on this, but I made a Botox appointment right away.
Yeah.
But really good. Everyone looked, their skin was great. They had really good it just looked really good. And I was like, wow, I never would have gone this long if everyone I'm surrounded with looked like this. So I do see this kind of like societal pressure from it too, because if everyone's doing it, and like, you know, you teach your kids, like, you don't do what everyone else is doing.
I know, and then you and I
like, you know, like the
you
second
look around,
I see like
for sure,
10
it's just
girls
human
with beautiful
nature.
skin, and I'm like, best Botox in Aix-en-Provence. But I do think like, I don't know, it's interesting.
Yeah, and I think what I find refreshing here is like, so I think in our, you know, the circle of moms and people and women, like, I mean, we live right in the city center. So I see like French women every single time I leave the house and just like, I'm always sort of observing. And I would say like, everyone looks so much more natural. Like I would say it's not like an overdone even like makeup look. Like they're
No, not at
clearly
all.
wearing like some makeup, but it's so not like obvious, right?
Yes,
Like where
it's
I'm
like invisible makeup.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
like the
maybe
no
there's a
makeup
little,
makeup
like,
sort of look. That
exactly, like a little bit under like concealer, but I mean, I rarely see someone with like a full. I think it's also one of the main ways that people can tell that someone's American
for
or
sure.
British is like when you have the full face of like foundation plus contour plus eyeshadow plus lips.
Yeah.
Because you just really don't see people like that. And I think one thing French women do really well is like embracing their own natural beauty. And
totally.
whether that's like, I don't know, I just see so, I think it's one of the things that, because Americans always have this perspective of like French women are so cool.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of it actually comes from the fact that they don't change things on their face that aren't like considered to be maybe like naturally beautiful.
Right.
Like maybe if you have like a gap in your teeth
Yeah.
or freckles or like they just sort of embrace these different things that make everyone's face unique and are super confident in
Totally.
who they, at least maybe they're not on the inside, but from the outside appearance, like it just seems like everyone is really like embraces what makes them unique. And I think there's such a beauty in that.
I think it's like they're exuding confidence from it,
Yeah.
which also I think makes them look even like more naturally attractive. Just
Totally.
because they're like,
confidence is
confidence
like-
is like, I mean, it's, you know, I think it's kind of one of those things that's like not easy to exude, especially on like certain days when you may not like feel like your best, but like that's a big difference. Like I think you can tell now, I can even see like, you know, Americans or British that just like you can tell that we're a little more like, I don't want to say like less confident, but a little more like I don't know
Trying
what the
to
right
look a
word is,
certain
but
way. I
trying
know
to
what you mean.
trying to look a certain way,
Like
like
trying to look a certain beauty standard
Yes.
way. Like,
Yes.
Right now, like I feel like the beauty standard always switches too. You know,
Yeah.
like you had the Kardashians and everyone
sure.
wanted like big curves. And
Yep.
now it seems like there's a lot of Ozempic
Yep.
and like
Yep.
very skinny is
Yep.
back in. And it's like everyone's kind of trying to reach this beauty standard. Whereas
sure.
here, I feel like, yes, I think like you can't, I do feel like people want to be on the thinner side and they sort of naturally are a little bit more
I would
here.
say that's true.
But yeah, I see such a big difference there.
I know. Yeah, and I think, you know, one of the things like that we should talk about is like I think the good part about aging that I think French women embrace really well is like they don't just look at it from a physical standpoint, but like what they've sort of gained from aging, like all the wisdom and like how like great if they're a mom, like that their kids are like getting older and more independent and that they have more freedom to like do certain things. And it's viewed as like much more of a
Positive outcome.
Right. And I think
Which it is.
And it
you know,
is.
like, we
It's
should all
like-
be like, yay,
Yes.
aging.
And it's so interesting because I like now, I mean, think of like you say happy birthday to another, they're like, oh, great, another birthday. Like that's kind of
Yeah.
the
And, like,
reaction,
turning
right?
40 and,
oh
like-
my gosh. Yeah. It's like, oh, it's like all downhill from here, you know,
Yeah.
or like I've had friends be like, we should get all our girls' weekends in because it's like the best we're going to look for the next like 5 years, you know, and like, it's so crazy.
Yeah.
Like why should that matter so much? Like, I feel like I see French women enjoying like who they are and how they look, no matter what their age is.
I agree.
And I think
totally
that's
agree.
amazing. And the other thing, it's like, I think the way that the elderly women, and I'm talking like 80 plus, it is
yeah.
like a whole new generation that live in France that is that group, meaning they like walk as fast as like a 20-year-old. Like they're carrying their own groceries. They're like sitting at a cafe. Like, I mean, they're
They're
like
so
they're really
independent.
living life and
Yeah.
they're fully independent. And I think it's partially coming from like that they feel better about themselves and that there's like a natural sort of like confidence that comes with them being
And
aging.
they all get dressed, especially
Yes,
in
and they
X,
look great. And
really good.
Totally. And they're not like, oh, like, shoot, I'm 80 and I've got to like haul up in the house and like maybe
Yeah.
I'll drive to the grocery store today, but that's all I'm going to attempt
Yeah,
to do.
no,
And it's
so
just a
true.
totally
Even in my town,
different
I see
attitude.
like every day because there's a lot of older people that retire,
Yeah.
come down here and retire, and you know you see them out like doing their walk every day, and some of them are really old and really slow, but they're
Yeah.
out there every day doing like some
Totally.
of them have the walking sticks, but like
Yeah.
they're doing it.
It's
but I do think
amazing.
it is. I think it is easier here though
Yeah.
to kind of embrace the like positivity of getting older because
Yeah.
we also are not like inundated with the anti-aging marketing, and I
No.
feel like in the US there's that there's just so much, like everything is anti-aging, anti-aging.
And every brand is making, I mean, that's one of the big, I mean, having worked in beauty, it's like the fastest and biggest segment now of beauty.
I'm sure. And like, I'm so guilty of it too, because I'm not going to lie. Like I do want to look
well, of course,
young.
it's
and
not
I
like,
always am like trying to like, I'm interested in trying new anti-aging products and new skincare and stuff.
Yes, of
But
course.
it's something that I've like coming to terms with a bit in my head when I think about having a daughter, and now she's getting older, and I don't know. There's certain things that I just like don't want to be the same for her.
Yeah.
And so I think this has started this like little bit of an internal dialogue in my head. And where it really started, if I'm being completely fair, goes back to how French women are so good at embracing like their natural features. Because one thing I've noticed here is that most of the time when girls have curly hair, they wear their hair curly.
Yeah, it's true.
And in the US, like I have very curly hair.
I would never have known that. But in my whole time,
like I will literally never forget when I was in first grade, someone said I looked like my hair was a bird's nest, and I was like, oh my gosh! And I realized no one else had curly hair, and so then I have straightened my hair my entire life, and I'm like, I'm not embracing my natural beauty. And my daughter at one point had said, but like I don't like curls, and I was like, oh my gosh, am I gonna have to start wearing my hair curly
to show her, because she is curly hair.
And then I did, and she was like, this doesn't, then I don't look like myself to her. So that sort of freaked her out. So I guess I squeezed by on that contradiction.
But do you know, it's
but
funny.
It got me thinking, because I'm like, I don't want to like do one thing and then expect her to do another thing. And
it's so interesting you said that about your daughter, because my daughter, she has very straight hair, and I have very straight hair.
Yeah.
And because
so lucky.
Well, no, but she wants curls.
Yeah, I guess you always want what you don't have.
And it's so funny, because I was curling my hair like the other day, and she was home, and it was like on a weekend, and she came in and she's like, oh, you're curling your hair. I want curls. And then I actually had to curl her hair. And I was like,
oh my gosh.
And as I was curling her hair, it was like the first time I've ever curled her hair. I was like, am I starting like
a bat?
Yeah. And like, I really had to like think about this. Like, is this teaching her that like her straight hair is not beautiful, and like that's why mom's curling her? Like it's all, I think, very
deep
complex
quick when you have kids, especially daughters.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, I don't have a boy, but seems
no,
like,
it's the boys don't care. I don't think my son, who's 7, would notice if my hair were curly, orange, purple. I mean, I don't know. So I think, what I think a few things, our title, aging like a vintage fine wine. I was thinking about like, wine actually is something here that's like so like part of the culture, and people really appreciate like an older wine, and like the good qualities of that are like, I mean, if I'm literally drawing comparisons to wine, it's like the way that like it sits in the oak over time, like helps to bring out like the flavor, and like, and I was just thinking about like people like talk about like vintage as a good thing, as a word in general, but like when it refers to wine as like cool vintage shops, and like, and I was like, maybe it's like actually cool, like to be like the cool, like, vintage mom that like embraces her beauty, and like, and I think we all have like our own limits of like how far we're willing to go, right? Like,
of course,
I'm not going to ever probably let my hair go like completely gray, and like I'm probably going to dye my hair till I don't even know, maybe when I'm much older. But it's just something that like I think comes also from our mothers. Like my mother is in her early 70s, and she still dyes her hair, like, and she would be completely gray, but at the same time she's never had a single like any work done on herself, and she just embraces like good skincare, and she like uses good makeup, etc. But I think you do draw a lot of inspiration from our mothers, and our children are like drawing, our girls are drawing that same inspiration like from us. And so I do think it's like interesting, the generations culturally, even like within our own families.
Yeah. I kind of the same. My mom's like very, she always got like a little bit of Botox, but then she, she'll go years where she hasn't had it. And she, at one point she was all gray, and honestly, she looked great, but now she's dyeing her hair again. But her vibe has always kind of just been like, she's always been so true to herself. It's so like, cool. If she wants to do it, she does. She doesn't care what anyone else thinks. So I've always kind of like I would say like my anti-aging like ideas more probably came from like pop culture.
Oh, for sure.
Right? Yeah. Like I don't think I drew them so much from her, but I think I think if my mom was doing like tons
Oh,
of
totally.
surgeries
You
and
much more have
stuff
the
like that, I would
perspective.
probably be like, okay,
Yeah.
so when am I signing up for my first?
For sure. And she would probably even like encourage it, like be
Yeah.
like, all right, you want to come with me? Let's do it together. And so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I
even-
love what you were saying about the French wine thing.
Yeah.
Like, just kind of like, I don't think I'm totally there yet, but I
Yeah.
aspire to aging like a French wine.
Me too.
Right?
Yes. And I think that's like such a cool thing because French women actually do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
and like it's just so different from what we have been exposed to in the US. And I honestly think like living here now, like I just feel less pressure, like to like I don't get as like worried every morning when I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh gosh, like, well, this isn't good. And this, like, I don't beat myself up as much, if that makes sense.
I completely agree with you. I feel like there's just something about being here. I don't want to, this can probably be taken the wrong way, but it seems like we're like a little bit in the olden days. Not the olden days. I don't know how to say
Yeah,
this
no, I
without
know
being
what
like
you're
offensive
saying.
to France. Because
Right.
it's not like, no, it's not the
it's
olden
very
days.
modern, obviously.
But there's just like more like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's almost like I feel like the perception is like okay, so for example, in the United States, like everything's like very tech and like getting onto the next trend and like trying new things. Like we were just talking about this, my husband and I, because it's like if a new restaurant opens like in France, like people are maybe a little curious. Some might try, some might be like, oh gosh, what is this trying to be some like trendy restaurant, etc. Whereas like in the US, like everyone's like, oh cool, like what's coming into my neighborhood? That's awesome. Like I'm
Like,
gonna
try the
totally
new
try it.
stuff.
So I
Yeah.
just think there's like a natural tendency in the US to like jump on trends. Like, and even within the beauty industry.
Yes, I see what you
Having
mean.
worked in like global beauty, it's like the US, like we were constantly pumping out the next hot cool trend that everyone had to jump on.
everyone
from
wants to
beauty.
try, like, the
because
next
everyone
thing.
wants to
Yeah,
be
and
like,
it's so true.
And
There's
they
so
want to be
many.
like ahead of it and be like, oh well, you know, Sephora's in the know, and we
Are you
that was
using
actually our
snail
positioning.
mucus or whatever?
Yeah, totally. And I just think here it's like comes back to I think what you were saying, Isabel. It's like more kind of like classic, like less trendy,
Yes.
like timeless, which I think like you're kind of saying like old fashioned. It's not necessarily old fashioned. It's just like slower in terms of like adopting
Yes.
things that are like completely new versus like the US being like the next hot thing has to be
And everyone
the
ready
thing.
to go.
Yeah, and
to
everyone
it.
like
and I think
jumping
like
on
you
it.
know when you say like like someone needs to go touch grass.
Yes,
I
yes.
almost feel like that's sort of what living in France is like because
Yeah.
it's like just like getting out of like all the like
Yeah.
messaging
Totally.
of the US that is sort of you don't realize it's overwhelming
Yeah.
until you kind of don't have
I
it
know.
anymore. And granted, like I think I do watch like less TV here. I watch
For sure,
less
me
radio,
too.
so I'm exposed to less.
Yeah.
But still, you know, like just walking around New York City, like
Oh, for sure.
you see so much stuff. And
Yeah.
in Paris, like you just don't see like all like
No.
weight loss, like
No.
this, that, and just not having all that messaging
For sure.
feels peaceful
Yeah.
because you feel less stimulated.
Yeah.
And
I think partially for me, I can't read it that well because it's all in French. But so
I mean,
maybe
look,
I'm not
maybe I'm
feeling
like
it.
talking out of my, you know what, but I think that here it just feels more natural.
Yeah.
All like even, you know, like you could kind of bring it back to everything. Like even the food system is more natural. Like the food is
Oh,
more
totally.
natural. It's
Yeah.
more like, you know, when you're sick,
Yeah.
you don't automatically go take a bunch
Right.
of medicine. I don't
Right.
know if you've noticed that.
I
but,
have noticed that.
like your doctor can prescribe you
Yeah.
some stuff, but the pharmacy doesn't have like Dayquil and like all the NyQuil, all that stuff.
Yeah. Like you
So-
don't take 8 million things for when you have
yeah,
a cold.
so I think people
Yeah.
are in general like less like, oh yeah, let's do
Yeah.
this, let's do that. Like injections and
For
different
sure.
things. And not saying it doesn't happen.
No, I
but
mean,
it also happens in a more natural way because
Yeah.
I have also noticed like some French women do have Botox, but you might not
Yeah.
know because their face still moves.
For
Whereas
sure.
I think like the US look is like the full freeze.
Right. For sure. Yeah.
Which is like what I asked for.
They were probably like, no, we're not going to give you that. So I think, yeah, I mean, I think to like wrap this up, I think we're both observing that like we've changed a little bit of our perspective on it.
Yes.
And I think partially it's the environment we live in. Partially like I think like the French look amazing and like I love the aging gracefully look. And
I do too.
I kind of, and I'm like, I want to take that into my own life and I want to
Same.
teach that to my daughter, you know, as
Same.
she gets older.
Yeah, I just want aging to be a positive thing because at the end of the day, it is a positive thing, and we're
Yeah.
so lucky to like each day
Totally.
older we have, and the wisdom and the
Yes.
life learnings. Like, I don't know. We were saying like, would you go back to your 20s?
I'm like, no.
No, I mean, yeah, for 1 week.
We said we'd want to do 1 week.
Definitely. It was so much fun, no responsibility. But
Totally.
at the same time, like when I think back of who I was when I was in my 20s, I was completely
Yeah.
lost.
Yeah,
I had
it's
no
so
idea
hard.
like what I was doing, where I was
so
going.
hard. I know.
And now, like, you know, you just feel
Not
like
like
you're in
we
such
have
a different
everything
place.
planned perfectly out, but it
Totally.
is like you
But I
feel
imagine
more,
like 10 years from now, I've
Yeah.
probably figured a few more things out.
Totally.
And 10 more years
Yes.
from then,
for sure.
I don't know. So
and
I think we
you,
should.
I think you get more confident even like
Yeah, I
you know,
agree.
our ages versus when we were 20. Like I feel
Yep.
much more confident now.
Me
than-
too.
And I
Me
probably
too, for
you know,
sure.
maybe look different, but the confidence I think kind of makes up for it too.
Yeah,
in
and
some
it like
ways.
comes from within. And I think that the focus on looks can be really extreme in the US.
for sure.
And I've appreciated
Yeah.
living in a place where that isn't like the number one most important
Totally.
thing.
I agree. Well, let us know what you think about
Yeah, what do you guys think about
beauty
aging?
and aging? Obviously, we've learned, you know, a bit over our time in France, but also, you know, our own observations from our culture. So, all right.
Okay.
Good
Bye,
girl.
guys.
Bye.